Okay, today I'm going to be teaching you about Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was born into a peasant family in northeastern France in a village called Domremy. And it is thought that she was born on January 6th in 1412. She was born to very devoutly religious parents, so that from age 12 or 13, Joan of Arc started hearing voices or receiving visions of the saints Margaret, Michael, and Catherine, and these voices and visions told her to rescue the French people and to save France, basically. Specifically, the voices that Joan of Arc was hearing of the saints Margaret, Michael, and Catherine told her to lift the siege of Reims, which is the city that coronations were typically held in, and the Dauphin Charles needed to be coronated, especially because his father had died several years ago, and they had not had a chance yet because the city was held under siege by the English. It was a very tedious process for Joan of Arc to involve herself in the Hundred Years' War. She had to make an 11-day journey through enemy-held territory to even present her ideas and her case to the Dauphin Charles. And the first time he dismissed her and rejected her ideas and everything and sent her home. And a year later she returned, and this time the Dauphin sent her to the city of Poitiers. And here there was a group of high-ranked clergy, including archbishops of Reims, which is a city that coronations were held in, the Inquisitor of Toulouse, several bishops, and many prominent theologians. And they said about Joan of Arc, "Nothing improper has been found in her, only humility, chastity, piety, propriety, and simplicity." So after this happened, she was approved for an army to accompany her to Orleans. During the Hundred Years' War, Joan of Arc was captured by the Duke of Burgundy. Burgundy was allied with England, and they were an enemy of France. They tried to brand her as a witch, but they had unsuccessful efforts, and even though they had 6 sessions of interrogations and questioned her relentlessly for months during her trial, they were not able to find anything to convict her of, and she constantly repeated to them that she was sent by God. Joan of Arc's trial may actually be the most interesting part of her life. Basically, the enemies used her as a tool. They thought that if they executed her immediately, they'd be creating a stronger political power for France and more motivation against them in their war. She suffered really harsh treatment on her trial and in prison. She wore men's clothes and soldiers' attire to protect herself from being raped against even the prison guards. And she ended up, they asked her to sign a document saying that she wouldn't wear men's clothes anymore. They told her that it was sinning. And although she didn't believe that it was a sin, because she obviously had this connection with the saints, which are the voices in her head, and with God, she signed the document because they threatened to execute her immediately if she didn't. So she obliged, and she followed this rule for about a week, and then she put her soldier's clothes back on and told them that this was to protect her virginity, and this is what ended up resulting in her execution. But before she was executed, she, at the beginning of her trial, she swore to tell the truth about everything that they asked her, but she refused to talk about the new King Charles VII, who she helped to get coronated. During her trials, they started out with 70 charges, and they ended up dropping it to 12. Like I said earlier, they had unsuccessful efforts in convicting her of anything. Towards the end of her trial, they ended up saying that Joan, claiming to hear voices of saints and receive visions from God, was blasphemy, and that was what they convicted her of, and they ended up executing her by burning her at the stake on May 30th, 1431, when she was only 19 years old. It is cited that she prayed for God to forgive them for killing her for 30 minutes, and even the executioner said that she cried out Jesus 6 times loudly while she was being burned, and he also said that he was damned for putting such a holy person to death. Other people quoted was one of the judges who said, "I wish that my soul were where I wish this woman's soul is." And a man named John, a witness and a secretary to the King of England, said, "We are lost. We have burnt a saint." 500 years later, Joan of Arc is now considered a Roman Catholic saint. She is also nicknamed the Maid of Orleans, which derives from the nickname she gave herself, Joan the Maid, because she claims she didn't know her last name. Joan made a huge impact on French history and history around the world. Even though she never actually participated in combat in the war, she commanded her armies very well and led the French to many victories of battles, and helping King Charles VII to be coronated in Reims. I personally think that Joan of Arc is a woman who lived with her honor, and even though in modern days she may have been diagnosed with schizophrenia or another mental disorder, she was devoted to what she believed was right, and she died for it at a very young age, and I believe that she should be looked up to for her life.